I'm Josh.
And I'm Jen. Welcome to the Gospel Shape Family Podcast.
Each episode brings biblical wisdom and practical conversations on parenting, marriage, and family. And we discuss how to disciple the next generation with a biblical worldview.
Whether you're raising children, shepherding a church, or longing to build a legacy of faith in your home, this podcast is for you.
Join us as we explore how to shape hearts, homes, and churches around the gospel, one conversation at a time.
Welcome back to the Gospel Shape Family Podcast.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going? Josh Mulvihill, how are you today?
I'm doing good.
Yes?
Yeah. I'm ready for the weekend, though.
I'm ready. And why is it so hot outside? Let's just say we're Minnesotans, and it was like 86 yesterday. That's too hot for me.
No bueno.
No bueno.
Give us the cold.
Ready for winter. Ready.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, glad you guys are here. Today we're talking about how to become an intentional Christian parent, which is such a fun topic to talk about, the topic of intentionality and what does it look like practically to be an intentional person, just in general, and then with your kids, what does that look like? So we'll dive into that today. But before we dive into that, I have a question for you, Josh Mulvihill.
Okay.
Do you in general consider yourself to be an intentional person?
I would say yes.
Yeah,
Of course, there's always times when that doesn't happen. But I'm pretty systematic and strategic and planned out. I'm like a planner. I don't know.
You are?
Yeah. I can be spontaneous with a plan.
That's a great
Spontaneous
way of saying it.
within a plan.
Yeah.
Yes. But when things like, if it's not planned out, sometimes I get a little like, yeah. That's all I can. Yeah.
That's okay, though. That's okay. That's what we're saying to continue.
Would you consider yourself an intentional person?
I think I've gotten more intentional as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
I'm very type B. And so sometimes I like to just go with the flow and everything just flows along. But I do recognize that I need to be intentional. Otherwise, I would just be a tornado. So, yeah, I think I've gotten better at it over the years, right?
Did you see that squirrel over there?
That's me. Whoa, look at the squirrel. Okay, so listen to this. Okay, this is totally random. So we were at Home Depot. I was at Home Depot with Asher yesterday. And our son Asher is like, he's a lot like me. I would say he's very like gregarious, whatever. We were at Home Depot. And he literally said to me, Mom, there's a squirrel over there. He
did say
said
that.
There was a squirrel inside Home Depot, and he was intent on finding it. That has nothing to do with intentionality.
Does that really embody our two different personalities? I literally just said squirrel, and you...
I had a story about a squirrel in real life. It just happened to me. That was 5 years ago. That was... less than 24 hours ago, my body was in Home Depot.
Yes, there you go. Now you got a little taste of how we are different.
Yeah, that's okay. That's good, though. We're a good match.
So if you are going on a vacation, would you rather it be like spontaneous, no plan? Maybe you know where you're going, of course, but or would you prefer to have a detailed, like daily schedule plan?
No, I'm more of a routine person. I don't really like a schedule.
You just leave it wide open.
I want to know where we're staying. I want to know how I'm going to get coffee. I want to know big picture things, but I don't need a detailed plan. What about you?
Give me the plan.
He likes the plan.
Give me the plan. We just went
to London.
Yeah, we just went to England.
Tell the audience about how you planned it. So he did such a good job. This was like a 10 out of a 10.
So we went to England for our 25th anniversary. Every 5 years of our, 10-year, 20-year, 25-year, those kind of big 5-year anniversaries, we plan a big trip. We save up for it for years, and we plan for it. It's a special deal for us. We don't usually do like expensive vacations, but our 5-year anniversary mark every 5 years, we make an exception and we kind of go a little more all out for that. So we decided we were going to go to England. Jen had never been. I've been there once. We did a bit. We're kind of bookishy people. We're readers, and so we did a little bit of a literary tour.
It was so good.
Church history tour in our England time. So I did a lot of research on where to stay and all of the literary stuff. Like, where was C.S. Lewis? Where did he kind of, what pubs did he go to? Where did he frequent? Same with Tolkien. And we ended up staying at a place that Oscar Wilde lived. And then that was where we stayed. And we had, it was so fun. But,
and we had reservations to places like Buckingham Palace and dinner reservations. And I was just like,
all the best places to
along
eat.
for the ride. It was so
It was fun.
good.
Yes.
It was like, that trip was like both of our personalities had ability to shine. Don't you think?
It was good. Yes.
It was fun.
I like the intentionality. But I think about this related to becoming an intentional Christian parent.
Yeah.
And many of us, I think, we could say we're Christian parents, and we want to move to become an intentional Christian parent. And, many of us have plans and goals for our business, for our career, maybe for our finances. We got a retirement plan, or even a vacation like I just shared. We spend a lot of time planning for it, being intentional about it. But here's the here's the $1 million question. Do we spend the same amount of time and intentionality thinking about our goals as a parent? Yeah. And I get to ask groups of parents when I speak to them at conferences and in churches, would you raise your hand if you have ever written down your goals as a parent? The last two groups I've asked this question of, not a single parent raised their hands.
I believe that.
In that group. And it's not that we don't think about things. I mean, our kids dominate our thoughts.
Our time and our conversations and everything.
But we sometimes don't articulate and spend that added little extra time to get you kind of across that finish line. And of course, when we think about other areas of life, we've never built a home from scratch, like from brand new. But I'm sure many have who listen to this podcast, you would never, ever build a house without a blueprint. You wouldn't just do it like fly by the seat of your pants, spontaneous. We know 100% that would lead to problems. And research has actually shown that those who keep their goals in front of themselves just are more effective. They accomplish more. It's it's common sense kind of stuff. And so, winging it works with some things in life, but winging it as a parent's not ideal. In fact, kind of we would say, flying by the seat of your pants parenting, maybe that would make a funny stand-up comedy act.
Fun book, flying by the seat.
Yeah, and sometimes we can get away with some stuff, but day after day, month after month, year after year, we don't want to fall into that pattern. So Proverbs 14:22 says, "Those who plan what is good," we could apply, of course, apply that to parenting. "Those who plan what is good find love and faithfulness." It's a great reminder there. So Jen, could you share a little bit about our story of intentionality in parenting, kind of how that began when we were young parents and what that has looked like throughout the years?
Yeah, it's been a fun journey. So when our kids were little, when I say little, I mean very little, we had our son Jay, and I was expecting Asher. So he was like, what, a year and a half or 2 years old. We decided we were going to take a weekend. Josh is a planner, and that's always been great for us. We've always had different plans. I remember when we first got married, we wrote like a 5-year plan, just to try to we had young married people goals of doing things like buying a house and having jobs and basic things.
It's funny to look back at those now.
Oh yeah, those are fun. And we worked hard. We worked really hard.
Yep.
But so we took a weekend and we decided we were going to just, jot out some things, make some big goals for our kids, knowing we had one little guy and then another on the way. So we rented this little cabin. I remember it didn't have a bathroom. I don't know why that stands out to me. It didn't have a bathroom.
And I'm like, yeah, that's my kind of fun.
And like
for ladies, maybe
and
not.
I was pregnant. And then another core memory of the weekend. Let me just share that before I get into nuts and bolts. We got Subway and brought it to the cabin. I remember that Subway.
Living large.
Living so big. But yes, so we got this little cabin for the weekend and we just started brainstorming. We just said, who do we want these future adults to be? Who are we raising? What do we want to see in them when they get older? And so we spent, goodness, for sure an evening and then I think half of another day. And we wrote everything down and we talked about from the biggest things to the smallest things. So we want our children to be readers and we want them to have read and appreciate these certain books. And we want them to know music and poetry. And I remember we talked about we want them to have a really good sense of humor. We wanted them to have great relationships. We just everything that came to mind. And then we discussed it, right? We discussed it as a thing. We were like, yeah, that's a good one. And so we wrote and wrote. And so we did that. And then we started with just coming up with, I want to say it was 2 things that we were going to work on with Jay, our oldest at that time. And he was maybe a year and a half or 2 years old.
1.5 or 2.
He was itty bitty.
It was like obedience, basic obedience.
It was
like potty training, I think we were getting.
I think it was, we're going to read the Bible as a family. And then it was like obedience, because I remember there was a song I taught him that was like, O-B-E-Y, obey your mom and dad. It was great. And he was already super obedient, but it was just 2 things. And so we said, we're going to work on these 2 things and then we'll slowly add over the years. And so it started as just like 1 year and a list of things, just turned into a regular rhythm for us of getting away and planning on behalf of our kids and just taking time to assess where are each of them at as individuals. What do we see them needing spiritually? How are their hearts? How are our relationships with them? And then crafting a plan that we were going to try to execute over the next 6 to 12 months. And so as the kids have gotten older, those plans look very, very different. I mean, obviously what a 1 or 2 year old needed at the very beginning when we first started is vastly different than what they need at 17 or 18 years old. And so it's been a really great way to hone in on what each of them needs. And then for us too, to just spend some time together, having some fun and just having a shared vision for what are our steps moving forward. And what do we want to see? And then evaluating. We can evaluate together. How did that go? How did that, what was that a winner? Was this a terrible resource? Was it, do we need to find something different? And we've had seasons where we've reconvened and said, we're going to continue working on this. And then we've had a lot of high fives too, where we say, hey, that was great. So much fun. What's the next thing?
So we would craft a yearly discipleship plan.
Yep.
Per child.
Not like per child. Yep.
Not like as we have 5 kids, so we didn't just do it for all 5. The same thing for all 5.
Yeah.
But it was by individual child.
Yep.
So, Jay, what are the couple things we're working on? Asher, what are the couple things we're working on? Kate, what are the couple things? And then those would change from year to year based on need and where we felt the Lord was leading us. What kind of things, that as we did that year after year, we would usually go away about February. That works through my schedule as a pastor, and it was nice in Minnesota. You kind of get cabin fever, all the snow.
It's a lull kind of in the homeschool time too. It feels easy to get away.
So we would go, we pick a weekend. Usually, in the early years, it was a weekend when our moms were alive.
Yeah, when our moms were living, they would help.
Because we would leave kids with parents, go away for a weekend. It was great for our marriage. We'd always have some fun built in.
We would have so much fun.
And then we would spend some time planning and praying and assessing and discussing. So what then our parents died and we had to shift. So we got to the point of having 5 kids. It's not very easy to say to somebody, hey, would you mind watching 5 kids for like the next 3 days, 2.5 days, whatever, 2 nights? So there was actually a season for about 5-6 years where it was pretty tough to get away without moms around in the picture. So we shifted a little bit, and what did we do in those seasons?
Those seasons were great too. So we did a lot of like coffee house crawls where we would just go from coffee house to coffee house and
get a babysitter.
Yeah, get a babysitter for the day. Dinners out, just make it work type of things.
I think I remember one year where we didn't even leave. No, I think it's ideal to go out of the house and just kind of get a breather.
Office, I think.
I think one year we actually did something just in one evening where that was all that worked that year. So we just did like a couple after the kids went to bed. It was like a 3 or 4 hour deal. That was all we could fit in that year.
Yeah.
And it worked. So we share that simply because
you don't have to go away for a whole
if you can go for a weekend or out, that's great.
Well,
but
and sometimes it's not feasible.
Yep.
Just from a childcare option, for some people it's not feasible financially.
Yes.
Depending on where you live. I mean, you don't have to go away
options
for a whole weekend.
Yep.
And
then we would plan that, and it was helpful for us. So now our kids are. Yeah, they're further along. We haven't done that for this next year right now. But what would you say? Are there a couple things that come to the top of your mind that we have been working on with any of our children that we know like these have been priorities with certain children right now? What are we working on intentionally?
Whoa, there's so much. Goodness gracious. I would say, I think we're definitely working on some. There's always like a physical, and spiritual. There's so many facets to it. So I think with the girls, I would say we've been working on like more intentional Bible study as we've transitioned Wednesday night Bible study. So transitioning the girls to being able to just like do the Bible study on their own without me helping them. I would say we're working on definitely like some more physical, like maturity type things, such as like being clean and like bodily autonomy type things, and just like things that come with maturing. I know for one thing all of our kids have done is our kids have all done that book called What Does the Bible Say About That? Their 5th grade year. That's been one thing they do. So I just we're gonna have Emily work on that this fall, I think.
She's in 5th grade.
She's in 5th grade, our youngest. So I think
driving for Asher, relationship, dating, for Jay,
and dating stuff for Jay has been so fun.
Yeah. Baking for Kate, just an actual skill.
Yeah, just life skills things.
Domestic. So we believe very heavily that God has created women to manage the home, obviously in a married capacity. And so we want when our daughters get married that they have some skills to manage their home on that side of things. And our 14-year-old is learning to be a phenomenal cook.
She's so good.
Whoever she marries is going to be like, thank you, Josh and Jen.
Oh my goodness, they should say thank you because she is a cooking extravaganza. And it's all so delicious. We had a group of guys over here and she bakes and they're all like, thanks, Kate. Thanks, Kate. They all know they're going to show up and she's going to have the goods. It's not me in there. We want to take a break and thank our sponsor, Renew a Nation. If you've benefited from the Gospel Shaped Family podcast, consider hopping online and making a tax-deductible donation at renewanation.org today. Your generous donations make this podcast possible and further our work to help children develop a biblical worldview. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, you can support us by leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen. This helps us grow and reach more families with a biblical worldview. Now back to the show.
So we get questions at this point, a lot of how-to questions. Yeah. So one of them we get often is like, so I've got like teenagers, like 16, 17, 18, like, oh man, I'm starting to feel a little like, like this like thing comes up in my heart. Like, I don't know if I did anything like that. I kind of feel guilty or am I out of time? And the answer is no, obviously not. If you've got a year, you got 2 years with a child before they graduate. That's a lot of time. That is a lot of time. So take the remaining time that you have and pick the most important things and be intentional with those. You can do a lot in a year or two.
You sure can.
And of course, when a graduation happens, there's no official end date. So you can continue to do things. We just picked 18 as a random number, but our parenting never ends. It continues into the young adult years. So continue. You can build some intentionality beyond that, even with children. We often get questions about what should I start with? If you're on the whole other end of the spectrum, you're a young parent. We talked about obedience. I think that's the first command for parents. It says with a promise. And if children are taught to obey your parents in the Lord, if that foundation is solid, then there can be character formation, maturity in Christ kinds of things built on top of that. But if that obedience piece isn't there, it becomes really difficult to do some of the other things. And so if you're a young parent on the other end of the spectrum, I would say, in the preschool years, toddler preschool years, prioritize that one.
It really is so important.
We'll probably have a podcast at some point here on discipline. There's kind of two ends of the spectrum. There can be really passive and there can be really authoritarian, which we want to avoid both of those. The Bible gives us a lot of principles in how to, discipline's, drive is holiness in Christ. It's driving kids to the gospel, to love Christ. And that can be done, of course, in good ways and poor ways. And since we're talking about it, I'll just mention one resource. There's a book by Ted Tripp called Shepherding Your Child's Heart. It's a phenomenal book. So if this is a new topic to you and you're looking for help, just kind of as a quick aside, that would be a great one to look at. But those would be two kind of far ends of the spectrum. And as we think about kind of the idea of planning connected to parenting, we wanted to share a few benefits of that. If you're somebody that's maybe a little less of a planner, maybe a little more like Jen, and you prefer a little spontaneity in life, and you maybe need to be encouraged a little bit to put some time and energy in this area. What would one benefit be? First, I'll share the first one, Jen. You can say the second. Planning helps us take ownership for our child's spiritual growth.
Absolutely.
And so as parents, we don't want to abdicate our role to other people. And I think one of the things that planning does is it gives us confidence. It clarifies some of our objectives that we have as parents. And it even gives us somewhat of a step-by-step plan that we can keep in mind so that we can seize those moments as they arise in our home. And as a pastor, I saw a lot of parental abdication from other parents because either they feel like, well, the pastors or the Christian educators, they're the professionals. They know what they're doing. I don't feel totally sure about what I'm doing or how to do that. And this helps overcome some of that. What would benefit number two be, Jen?
The second benefit would be the planning is good stewardship. And, part of being a parent is recognizing that our children are not ours. They are on loan to us for a season. And we have limited time with them. We have a limited number of days. We have a limited number of years. We have a limited number of weekends and summers, and you can quantify that however you would like. But planning gives us the opportunity to be good stewards of our time with our children. And so being an intentional Christian parent means wanting to captivate that time. And regardless of whether you are a planner or whether you are a little bit more free-spirited, planning really is freeing. It is freeing in the stewardship principle. And so I just think we want to maximize. We want to maximize our return. We want to be people that are just good shepherds of what God has placed in our hands. And so, so we just want to be good stewards of what God has put in front of us. And planning is a great way to do that.
Number 3 benefit is that planning focuses our efforts. And there's a quote by Confucius, which Confucius says a lot of things that we wouldn't agree with. But he did say one thing for sure. He maybe said some other things, but he said one thing for sure that I think is very insightful and really helpful for our conversation here. Confucius said this: "He who chases 2 rabbits catches neither." And that's a really it's a really good image. As we've said, we live on a farm, and we have all these chickens. And if you've ever tried to catch a chicken, you know
that's hard.
It's very difficult.
That's hard.
You know, we call it the chicken rodeo. If you ever need to catch a chicken during the day, because they're fast and they're hard. And if you see this group of chickens in front of you,
you think you can grab a chicken.
You're like, there's all these chickens, and you try to start grabbing a bunch of them, you won't catch any of them. What you need to do is isolate one chicken and go after that one chicken. You corner it, you get it, and boom, you can catch that one chicken. And then you know, if you need to move that chicken somewhere, you put it down, you put it in, you know, in the brooder or wherever. Boom, you catch another chicken, and you know, one at a time. It's amazing what can happen if you focus on one, as Confucius says, one rabbit. But if you try to catch them both at the same time, they both get away. And so this is just this is a principle of focus. If you want to accomplish significant things, focus on one thing at a time. So figure out for parenting which rabbit is worth chasing right now and which are the ones worth letting go. And so when, you know, if we are listening to this, you're listening to this and you're kind of thinking about all the things you could do as a parent, it's pretty easy to become overwhelmed really quick. I'm going to encourage you, if you have a plan, you know how to prioritize, you can think about which rabbit is most important in this season. All right, benefit number 4, Jen.
The final benefit is that planning tells us where we need to grow as parents, and just recognizing that I am not a perfect parent. You are not a perfect parent. None of us are.
Wait a minute.
Oh my goodness. I know, bubble burst. But really, it just keeps us on track, and it helps us be honest, right? In that we need to recognize that we need to grow, and we're continually learning in our parenting. And so it helps us stay ahead of the curve. It helps us stay ahead of our children. It helps us to just know where we want to go. And to put our footsteps in motion. And so if we can stay one step ahead of our children, if we can just make sure that we have the resources and the forethought and put the time into establishing what we want them to know and what we want to cover with them in the next season, then we can plan for that also. And so it just helps us to
be intentional.
To be intentional. That's exactly it. Just to be intentional. It helps us learn, and like, we're being refined as people in this process of parenting and of discipling our kids, and we're being refined as we work through this stuff. And so that's a benefit of the planning, is that we know what to prepare for.
So over the years, as we've kind of refined this in our life, and as we've encouraged parents in this way, we realized that it would be helpful to actually have a resource that parents could use to do what we just talked about on this episode. So we actually wrote a book.
We did write a book on it.
It's called 50 Things Every Child Needs to Know Before Leaving Home, Raising Children to Godly Adulthood. So Jen, here, you want to hold that up?
I'm gonna hold it up.
If you're watching the video, you can see a picture. We'll include it in the show notes so you can see it as well. Beautiful book. It's our little book baby child.
It is our little book baby, and I will say I love the art in the book because we selected the art to be reflective of things in our own home and in our own family. So it's very down to the nuances is very reflective of our family.
So how could somebody, tell us a little bit about the book and how someone could use it to become an intentional Christian parent.
Yeah, so the 50 Things book starts out with some information about talking about planning, what is parenting success, some things that you can read as more of like a typical parenting book would be. But what's very, very fun is that we then break down what we established as being 50 things based upon all of our, rewind to that, rental cabin with no bathroom, the 50 things that we, started and narrowed down that we would love to see our children accomplish before they leave home.
So can I say one thing? Yeah. So what we have found is that if everybody has to start from scratch, it's a little, if you got a blank slate, you're like, wow, where do I start? What do I do? Yeah. This becomes, it's kind of like a create your own adventure book. I don't know if you read those as a kid.
Those are fun.
Yeah, they're good. But this becomes kind of a customizable framework, a customizable discipleship plan that you can utilize. At least it becomes a reference piece per se that you could use to go, all right, I see a whole bunch of things, a quick list, like boom, 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 or add your own to it. It's a real helpful starting point.
Yeah, it's great. So the 50 things are broken down into 10 categories. And the 10 categories are, I'm going to read them quick: firm foundation, Christ-like character development, biblical beliefs and worldview, spiritual growth, life skills, relational skills, work and money management, home management, personal care, and then education essentials. And so for every single one of these, then you can flip ahead and there will be a section on how you can teach and incorporate these things in your family. So I just flipped to owns a Bible and is familiar with it. So does your child own their own Bible, and are they familiar with how to use it? So there's some teaching pieces on why this is important. There are ideas about how you can teach your child about this by ages, whether they're 0 to 5, 6 to 10, or 11 to 18. And then there's a place for you to answer questions and write down what you did with your kids. So make a list of the Bibles that your child owns. Be sure to include your children's Bibles and your heirloom family Bibles, or record the date. It gives you a place to record the date when your child received their own full text Bible, and what was the occasion, what did it look like, what did you write on the inside, all of those things. And then there's just a couple more questions that you can answer for each and every one of those. And the goal with this book is that it would be a workbook for you to use, a starting point, a launching point for you to use. And over the years, as the years go by, and this book gets kind of like tattered and worn, and it becomes a place to write things down, you can remove this like dust jacket. And then eventually, I'm going to take this off here. You're left with just like a really beautiful linen hardcover book. And this book then in and of itself becomes a family heirloom. So when you're not there, there will come a time when then we are not present in our children's lives, just like we aren't with our moms are not here. And your child looks back and says, I can't remember, like, what did mom and dad do when they were wanting to teach me about whatever it is? Well, it'll be here and it'll be written down for your family. So you are not only having the opportunity to disciple your children and be intentional with how you parent them, but you're actually leaving a legacy of faith, and you're helping your children teach their own children. And so our desire would be that this book would be a tool to be used by many families. And it's not a formula. It's not a formula that says you're going to do this and this is going to be, your kids are going to be just the most super Christians. Not at all. But it's a starting place to be intentional.
Did you mention the DIY part?
Yeah, I was going to say, in the back, there's a section.
I jumped in front of you, huh?
No, you're totally good. So in the back, there's a section. It's called a do-it-yourself parenting retreat. So just like we would get away There's a place that you can get away. And then there's literally hundreds of questions that you can ask yourself and your spouse in every area of life, assessing your parenting goals, your strengths. How are you affirming your children? How's your relationship with your children? How's your relationships with one another and extended family, holiday planning? There's a place to write your family mission statement. And I would also emphasize that this is not just for married parents, but if you're a single parent, if you're in a situation where you're a single parent and you're needing some encouragement and affirmation, you can still get away with a friend and assess how you're doing, or a trusted mentor, and make some goals for your family and take this on and give your children a legacy of faith. So we just hope that this is a tool that families can use to be intentional and to spur them on to raising children who know and love Jesus.
Well done.
Yeah.
All right, I thought we'd end today's episode with a segment.
A segment we like to call.
We are calling Favorite Things.
Favorite things. Favorite family things.
Favorite things. Yep, could be.
Oh, boy.
Could be lots of different favorite things. So, Jen, right now in life, what's one of your favorite things?
Oh, well, our family, I was going to say two things.
Okay, is that legal?
That our family's been into?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, okay, so two things our family has been into. We're super into this card game right now called Nerds. Now, I had never heard of it until earlier this summer. Maybe I've been living under a rock. Josh had heard of it. The other name for it is Dutch Blitz. But Nerds is like our version that we play. So it's just a card game, and you like try to play all together. I mean, and there's 7 of us and sometimes 8 of us. And so we all like circle around the dining room table, and it's like a fast moving card game. It's very, very fun. If you are getting older and you play Nerds for too long, you might get a low back pain. I had a little bit of low back pain.
We always get destroyed by our children.
The kids are so good.
It builds their confidence, I think.
I would recommend.
But it's good family time together.
Nerds is so much fun, and then we
just need some times of fun with our kids, right? So this has been that.
So hard.
Yeah, this has been that for us.
Put on music. The other thing that we have thought was fun lately that is just a 10 out of a 10 darling is this YouTube series called 50 States in 50 Days. We didn't start watching it until it was over. It was a summer series by this just absolutely adorable couple called Ryan Trahan and his wife Haley. They travel across America, and each episode is 20 minutes long. But it has just been absolutely adorable. This couple loves Jesus.
It's on YouTube.
And apparently, we're the last people in America to have heard of Ryan Trahan. But we have been watching just a little bit at a time. We don't watch TV a lot very much in our home. And so just a little bit here and there. But it has been so darling. It's just, I would recommend it. Have you been liking it?
Yeah. The girls have watched it all. I'm on state 15. So I'm slowly.
We find ourselves all together being like, jammy time.
There you go.
Saying stuff from the series. Yeah. Or one of the kids said, the language that he uses is so not said, you totally housed that burger. And it's like, what? It's so cute. But yeah, I would recommend Nerds. And the 50 Dates series.
And a good, looking for something to watch with the family.
It's just very charming.
It's good.
Cute. So.
All right. I think
that's it for today.
That does it.
Episode 3 in the books. Thanks for being here, everyone. It's so good to hang out with you.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Gospel Shape Family Podcast. Please share this episode and give us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts.